Welcome to Multiple Choice Question 1 of the 2007 Mathematical Methods Exam 2. In this video we will be looking at the solution for this question. A reminder that this video is in no way endorsed by VCAA. And before we move on, I'd just like to point out that the use of a CAS calculator may be useful in assisting us to answer this question, but it's not essential to use. So for question 1, we're introduced to the linear function f with some domain D, and the rule for f of x is 6 minus 2x, and we're told that that function f has a range of -4 to 12, and we're asked to find the domain D. So when we do these problems, it's important to identify whether you've been given the domain or the range. In this case, we've been given the range, so using -4 and the value 12, we're going to work backwards to find what x values we'd need to get those y values. So starting with the -4, we're going to solve f of x is equal to -4, and that's the same as 6 minus 2x equals -4. And then if you subtract the 6 and divide by -2, you do find that x equals 5. Repeating those steps for the 12, we're going to solve f of x is equal to 12. So that's the same as 6 minus 2x is equal to 12. And then again, subtracting the 6 and dividing by -2 will give x equals -3 as that x value. And because both of these have square brackets that are included, the domain just becomes the smallest x value to the largest x value out of those two answers. So the domain D is going to go from -3 to 5, both included with square brackets. So that means that A is the correct answer to this question. So even though we've done that problem by hand, it could have been done on the calculator. So in the main menu, we could have typed in the rule, which was 6 minus 2x, and you could define it. It's not essential, but I will define it right now. So we'll go interactive define as f of x, and then just dragging down f of x, we wanted that to equal -4, and then we can highlight and solve that for x. So interactive equation inequality solve for x, and hitting OK gives x equals 5 like we found before. And then repeating that, we can do f of x equals 12. And again, highlighting that and going interactive equation inequality solve for x will give x equals -3 as we previously found. And then we can just check that this has all worked by graphing it with the restriction from -3 to 5. So we're going to do f of x and then keyboard math 3, and this straight up and down line will allow us to put a restriction in, and we're going to go -3 is less than or equal to x is less than or equal to 5. So that's the smallest and largest x values in that order that we just found. And then dragging it down, including that restriction, so from the left hand side of the screen, it will give us this graph, and hitting the minus or negative button on the hard keypad will allow us to zoom out, and we can just drag that so that we can see where the graph is. And analysis gsolve f min, we can find that point is 5, -4, and analysis gsolve f max will give -3, 12, and then hitting escape will just clear that up so that we can have a good look at it. And that is now the function f restricted so that its domain goes from -4 to 12, which is what we wanted. And then looking at the examiner's report, we can see that 69% of students got this question correct. So it wasn't overly well done on the exam for what is a reasonably routine question at this level. The students who selected E mistakenly thought that the -4, 12 that was given was the domain, when in fact it was the range. And then they went on to find the range by actually substituting those x values into the rule rather than solving f of x equals those values. And that resulted in them getting an answer of -18 to 14, which was E.